Hello and welcome to Ginger World. My name is Brian if you're new around here, and maybe you recognize my voice from Ginger Prime. Note that you can still check out Ginger Prime content, but Ginger World is actually focusing in on pure New World content, and this video is actually diving into one of the biggest changes that we're actually seeing and not seeing a lot of discussion about online. Wars are changing from 50v50 to 40v40, and this is currently being tested out on the PTR patch notes. Now, over on the official forums, this is the conversation that's going on. I thought I'd weigh in, especially with the updates from the devs themselves, give you guys some context, give you guys my thoughts. You can always sound off with your thoughts below, but if you're interested in this conversation at all, you can always just come hang out on Discord as well. If you're looking for a New World group to play around with, we've got a good active group over here in the internet. That's up to you. If you're kind of a casual gamer, or as Asmongold refers to it, as a bearded dad with our craft beer. Either way, all are welcome. Let's go ahead and dive into it. From the devs, they say, hello, war enthusiasts. Thanks for the feedback so far on the 40v40 war change. I wanted to discuss our goals with this change and to let you know that this change is not set in stone. It's an experiment we wanted to try, and I hope that you all give it an honest shot. If we find that the benefits don't outweigh the negatives, we will revert the change. Here are two changes that we're making simultaneously, and we want to test the PTR and changes of war to 40v40 and not allowing defenders to respawn at capture points. The intent of these changes are twofold. One, to give attackers a better chance at war. Currently, defenders win around 80% of wars, and we would like to see this number be closer to 60%. We still want to give defenders the edge, but do not have it feel so insurmountable. Defenders also not being able to spawn at the capture points should give attackers a nice boost. It should also make it easier to capture the 3 points to unlock the attacking of the gates, and it should be easier for attacking companies to gather for a strong roster of 40 people to battle entrenched defenders. Now, from an improved of the gameplay of war, while we love the epicness of 50v50, we tested 40v40 internally, and war still felt grand while playing better. It felt a little bit less chaotic, and it was easier to coordinate teams, and wars felt a little bit more tactical. Note that on improving performance, it's not our explicit goal with this change. In some cases, going to a 40v40 may prove a slight benefit, but we wouldn't have tried this experiment if we didn't feel that the gameplay itself was better. We understand that this will reduce the total number of players who can participate in war, and then that is a negative. And we want to find ways and find that the benefits don't outweigh the cost that will revert it back to a 50v50. We also agree that the feedback in providing is always available, an instanced version of war that any player can play for fun and for rewards like OPR is a great idea. This is something we're looking into, but it will be far in the future. And it's that far in the future I think is really the most interesting thing. War, invasions, these are kind of like pinnacle activities currently in New World, and not necessarily a bad thing to have pinnacle activities, but being that you're not necessarily guaranteed to get in them, it actually, I think, creates kind of this funnel of people who do get in them, understand them, and then those who don't, and then if they try to get into them, they're automatically at a disadvantage for those who've already been running these wars and these campaigns. And so the fact that we don't have that ability to kind of have a practice mode of the war system, I think ultimately does kind of hinder a lot of people. Now, when we look at the PTR with the current changes and how that they're having a system of game modes opening up so people can jump into those different kinds of modes and content, I think that's going to be very healthy, and that's going to be a great place to start to add this in. If you want to take part in invasion and in war, to be able to jump into those, I think both of those things need to be brought in to a kind of a practice and rewards mode that isn't necessarily so reliant on the current scheduling system in and of itself. Now, as a longtime avid gamer, I love the worldness of it. I love the real-time setting of it. I love the scheduling of it. I love the impact of it. It has weight. It has meaning. And shifting to 40v40, it can be twofold. This actually kind of applies to a theory that I really want to see, that I've seen happen kind of and talked about in Pantheon as they've been developing that MMO. They've had simulations of like 3,000 people in content. And the question is that even fun? Like, we don't really know. And 50v50, kind of in my mind, when I start thinking about that, that's 100 players. That's Fortnite Battle Royale-esque. But as opposed to kind of wandering around the map and then it's something kind of happening like in Fortnite or a Battle Royale, this is obviously having a varying objective. I think the performance thing is critical. That's one of the biggest complaints around it, but it could also be tied into the chaoticness of it. And so, personally speaking, I'm willing to obviously give 40v40 a decent shot at it, namely to help to see if it's fun. Is 40v40 more fun than 50v50? And if so, obviously that's 20 players who are not going to be able to participate in these scheduled events. Like, ultimately in the long run, we got to figure that out as well when it comes to the game and who is playing it, and being able to experiment. And the downside is that this change is coming. And then they're also saying, yeah, we're looking into bringing that practice mode, but that's in the far future. And if somebody says in the development world that's in the far future, in my mind, I immediately go to 18 plus months. That's just my development brain at work. 18 plus months equals kind of when somebody puts the word far into it. Near future is around 6 to 9 months. So that's, if you are ever wondering when I interpret things and how I read things as an engineer and a developer, like when I think of gaming and design and how long some of these things take to test, implement, to make sure that they're stable. If they've already been working on it, we could be getting closer into that regards, but that's just generally the roadmap, the bouncing around that I see here. Now, obviously in March, they're going to plan on delivering a full-on new roadmap for us in the game. So I think that's going to have a really positive impact overall. So just keep it locked here to the channel for more of that. But I'd love to know your thoughts. Have you participated in more? Is it something that you're actively interested in? Did the 40v40 change frustrate you in the end, especially because of 50v50 and more? Now, I think that there obviously is going to be that benefit in terms of performance with less players running around, and I think that's going to be a thing. But the fact that it's not purely made for performance does continue to impress me in terms of how AGS has it run. But I think overall, like, if it's 40v40, if the mode is even more fun when it comes to the players themselves, and if it runs better, so you're not running into lag spikes and more, so the wars feel way more engaging, I think that's going to be a win-win-win for everybody. And it's unfortunate that they need to figure out how to kind of segment the gap. But it sounds like they've already got a plan in place. It's just going to be something that, like with anything, we've got to wait for. Anyway, guys, those are my thoughts. Love to know yours. Feel free to sound off below. Hit us up on Discord or on Twitter if you desire. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in my next video. But until then, take care.
Yeah. It's time to chill out on the couch and read some comments. That's right. You know me when it comes to Destiny. I'm off with a clan, and I'm glad you're feeling better. Oh yeah.